This tutorial we're going to create a simple dialogue system within Unity. At the moment I'm using 3D, but this can also be used for 2D as well, because essentially we're just using the UI systems to create our dialogue system, so it doesn't matter whether it is 2D or 3D because it just comes out as a 2D text anyway. Okay, and as you can see, just for this example, I've created a platform with two characters, one called player and one called NPC, and these will be talking to each other theoretically through our dialogue. So what we need to ensure is that we create our text. So we can start by right clicking, going into UI, and as you can see we've got Text Mesh Pro text. So if we click on that, it's probably going to prompt me to download it, which is fine. You can do this as well. There we go. Once that's downloaded, you'll see you have Canvas, Text Mesh Pro, and our events system. Okay, so if we zoom out, we can see that we have text in the middle of our UI. What we might need to do with our camera is pull that out, so we can easily, we can keep that as new text for now. If you look at our screen, so always zoom out. This is why we've got the game screen at the bottom, so we can quickly use this to scale in or scale out our text. So we can move our text box there. That's fine, move that around there. And as you can see, if I move that up there, we can see our text in the middle of our screen. That's quite a nice size actually, but we can just start this over there. And again, with Text Mesh Pro, we've got a lot more settings. You can also add, I might just leave this how it was. There we go, that's fine. And yeah, I'm just going to leave this as new text for now. Make sure we can just see that in the middle. What's the size? 36. Again, that's fine. We can scale this if we want, make it bigger, but Text Mesh Pro, we can change it all on the systems here. Once that's visible, we can go into our script to start scripting what we want to do with our system. So what I want to do is not just make text appear, but make it kind of type up as well, like you see in a lot of like 2D games and things like Pokemon, where it sort of scrolls up and types up and things like that. It's quite a nice little effect, so we'll add that in as well. Just going to zoom this in so you can probably see that a little bit better. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is look at the systems that we are using. So because we're using Text Mesh Pro, and this is a new system, we can actually put this in at the top here. So what I'm going to type in is using TMP Pro. There we go, it pops up, semicolon. So it now knows we are using Text Mesh Pro, and so when we're talking about it, it will directly affect the script. So what we need to do is create some variables for this. So our first variable is going to be a public variable. It's obviously going to be our Text Mesh Pro, and it's going to be our Text Mesh Pro GUI. Okay, because this is just like the systems. If you want it to be automated or come through as text type, we would use the GUI. and we are just going to call that text display. So how our text is displayed. I might just change that to a capital D. There we go, so we can see that. Fantastic. Then we can look at another public, a string, and we're going to look at how we're going to string our sentences together. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's call this sentences. So how are we going to make the put the sentences together so it's not all garbled up words at the same time? Then we're going to create a private integer for index. So the index will be what sentence comes first, what comes in second, third, fourth, and consecutive like that. The next one will be a public float, and this will be our typing speed. So what speed is our text coming across? So is it coming quickly? Is it coming slowly? We'll be able to manage this. Okay, so at the moment we need to create an IEnumerator for so start a coroutine for our text appearing, so our type text to appear. So what we're going to do is what I think we should do first is probably not worry about updates, because I don't think we need that for now. We might add it in later if we need it, but I don't think we will. So what I'm going to do is, well, actually, just in case, I'm going to keep that there, and just under that, I'm going to create our IEnumerator. So it's our IEnumerator. Okay, so things like text and things like that can't be generated in update or start. They have to be put in their own public field or void field. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put the IEnumerator, we're going to call this type, and at the moment it won't like this because we haven't actually started the coroutine, or it might like it depending. So we're going to start that, and then we're going to say for each space character a letter will appear. So we say letter in sentences brackets index dot to char array. Okay, so this is essentially what we're saying is we want our text to appear up in a certain order, in a certain way, and that's what we're doing here, and that's how we're setting that up. So don't worry about the type being read for now. That will just happen until we set the coroutine in our void start. Okay, so we're going to have text display, and that will display dot text, which should appear. There we go, fantastic. Which is plus equals a letter every time. Cool, fantastic. Then we're going to yield return, because we don't want them overlapping. New wait for seconds. Typing speed. Okay. So what you return and wait for seconds means is we're waiting for that text to appear up so it doesn't jumble over each other. We can then go into start, and then we are going to go start coroutine, and that coroutine, as we just said, is type. And I think we may be missing another bracket on the end, or oh no, semicolon. There we go. Okay, so if we save that, we'll keep that for now. And what we're going to do is create a new empty object. create a new empty, and we're going to call this new empty object, what could we call it? Just our dialog manager, because this is going to manage everything that we do. So there we go. There's our dialog manager. I'll spell that correctly. So we're going to drag our script into this empty. Oh, it doesn't like that. Why doesn't it like that? There we go. It does like it. So there we can see we've got some variables there. So our text display, our displayed text, our sentences, if we do put that drop down, so the size, so how many sentences we could have. So you could have 4 or 5 sentences. We've then got our typing speed, which we also need to implement in. So what we need to do is our TextMesh Pro. I'm going to click and drag that. Oh, doesn't want to go in there. There we go. So there's our TextMesh Pro. So we're going to click and drag that into text display. That's fine. The size of our sentences, let's say 4 sentences. So when we press enter on that, we have 4 different elements for sentences. And then our typing speed, I think I did this earlier. So let's say 0.2. Press enter, and then if we write some sentences of, let's say, player, hi, how are you? NPC. Good, thank you. Cool, so very generic text there. So when we press play, we should have at least something. There we go. So we do have the text appearing. So text player, how are you? But then, so that's appeared, and that's appeared quite slowly. But also, we've got this new text that's annoyingly there as well. So we need to get rid of that, as well as we can't skip on to our next sentence. So we need some kind of next button to be created. So we need to do that, as well as get rid of this new text as well. So if we click play, go to TextMesh Pro and just delete new text, press play again and see if that just appears normally. There we go, player, hi, how are you? There we go, when I clicked, that also came up really quickly as well. So we might need to change the speed of that. The speed is a bit dodgy there. So as you can see, it's typing, but if I click, oh no, it isn't appearing. It's not getting any quicker. Hi, how are you? Okay, so what we can do is always stretch this text box out like that as well. Stretch that all the way across. Cool, so let's just play that again. So we can make sure. Okay, so our text is appearing. Oh no, the text box isn't doing a great job there, is it? So if we come out of play, stretch that across, press play. Cool, lovely. So, player, how are you? But then obviously we do have other sentences, but we need some kind of next button or something like that to skip across, but we don't have that at the moment, so we need to add that into our script. But so far, so good. It seems to be working out. Okay, so let's go back onto the script. Or actually, we might need a next button, won't we? So let's create a next button. So let's create a new UI TextMesh Pro again. So there we go. There's our TextMesh Pro, and this time we're going to call this one next button. There we go. So that's good. So let's call that next, or let's make it caps so it pops up. And then what I'm going to do with this is drag that there, center that in TextMesh Pro, put it down at the bottom. There we go. So we've got a nice big old button. So this isn't a button just yet. Once we've done the text, we need to add a button component. So if we go to add component, type in button, there we go, there comes up button. So that pops up there. So we can change the color of this normal. So let's change the highlighted color to green. Let's look at dark green. Pressed color as well. Let's just change that to the same kind of dark green. I'm sure they look fine. Awesome. Okay, that looks good. Actually, this green, we can make this bold. There we go. Make it bold. Awesome. Okay, so let's just quickly press play on that to make sure everything's working. Can we hover? There we go. So if we go over our text, we can see now that our next button, obviously we need to click next and stuff like that, but it's working because it's the hovering with green. That's exactly what we want. So make sure you've added that button component, as well as make it bold and make it look like it's standing out, and position it where you would like in your scene. Okay, so one more thing. I'm just going to set the navigation to none because we're going to script that and put that in just in a little bit later. That's one thing we need to remember. Okie dokes. So once we've done that, we need to go back to our script. So let us create a new void under here. So we're going to call this void. Oh, actually, we should probably create a variable first. Or should we? No, we don't need to. So let's create this as a public void and call this next sentence. Okay, so scroll down. So this will enable our next sentence to pop up and then enable the click for our next button to work as well. So if brackets index, so our index is essentially calling up our next sentence. It has finished with the sentences, so if they've created the length, so if it's gone the whole length, we can then index plus plus. We can then add our text display dot text. That's important. So the speech marks are whatever the script is. So that's what we'll be putting in our text display within our sentences on our component, on our TextMesh Pro component. So we don't need to write anything in there. What do we need then? We need to start the coroutine. Type. Let's not forget that. Awesome. Then else should be. Oh, that came out weird, didn't it? Let's just get rid of that. Cool. So else will be text display dot text equals just the text itself. So if you don't click on the text, so if you don't click the next index for the next sentence, our text display will just remain there. It won't disappear, it will just stay if we don't click anything. Okay, so it's not on wait for seconds or anything like that. It will just display there, but we still have to call that up. Okay, so we need to now, this next sentence function now needs to be added to our button. So if we Command S this, we need to find this within our dialog manager. Okay, so let's go to our, let's go to our button. Where's our button? There's our next button. We need to add a onClick function. We need to drag our dialog manager into this game object. So dialog manager into there. Then we select the function, dialog system, next sentence. There it is. So I'll just hang there so you can find that. So dialog system, next sentence. Awesome. Okay, so that should be all done and dusted. Let's just make sure that is correct. Lovely, 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 lovely. Okay, so let's play this scene. So we know we've got two sentences. Let's let this play out. Hi, how are you? Question mark. Okay, so we click next. NPC says, I'm good. Thank you. Brilliant. Fantastic. But there is one problem. So if we add some more sentences, so go to our dialog manager. So awesome. How about oh, awesome. You say something generic. You going to the party this weekend? And NPC just says nah. Okay, so we've got some more sentences now. We've got all 4 sentences. You can add as many sentences as you like, doesn't matter. So if we click play, and if you're playing a game and you've got some generic sentences coming up, then you click next and you click next again. Whoa, look what's happening. So we've got some little glitch with our text where we've clicked next too many times, and essentially Unity can't keep up. The script can't keep up with itself. So we need to try and triangulate what this button's up to and organize that in our script. Otherwise we will get script or text like this for our dialog system, which is obviously not good, but good that our button works. Okay, so let's go back to our script. So we need to create a new variable. So under type in text, let's type in public game object, and we're going to call this next button, because we need to put a timer on this next button of when we're allowed to click it. So if we do click it like mad, the sentence will still come up in normal typing as usual and won't rush and do all that kind of squiggliness. Okay, so we will use updates. I'm going to make it a private void update just in case it gets confused with anything else that we type in. So let's say if text display dot text equals sentences of our index. Oh, I need it closed brackets for index. So sentences, index, that could work for me maybe. Let's try it out. Yep, that's good. And then we're going to say next button, as we've created that variable, is going to be set active true. Okay, so like things we've done before with set active, set bool and stuff like that, we are setting on the next button active when the text sentences and index have completed. Okay, so that's what we're saying in this piece of script here. So we need to now go down into our public void of next sentence and quickly add a line of script on top, which needs to be next button dot set active. So this is why the text is typing. So we're going to make our button false here. There we go. Okay, just at the bottom, just in case it all goes crazy, what we're going to make sure is we could just do that again. So next button dot set active is going to be false again. Okay, just in case it's at the top and bottom, just in case the text doesn't keeps scrolling or keeps creating this befuddled kind of bit. We're just turning off that next button again, so that should sort us out. Okay, so with that, because we've created that variable, we should have that within our dialog system script. So it's Command S, make sure Unity likes all of that. It doesn't seem to be an issue, which is good. So the next thing we're going to do is click on our dialog manager, and now we can see our next button. And what we're going to do is click and drag our next button into there. And we need to uncheck the visibility of our next button in the hierarchy. So if we go next button, take it out of there, and then play our scene, it should, let's make sure this works. How are you? Hey, there we go. So we should be then able to click next, then it disappears. NPC, I'm good, thank you. Click next, player, awesome. You going to the party, question mark. Oh, this weekend, question mark. That's terrible grammar as well. Next, NPC, nah, wicked, fantastic. So we can't skip because simply the button is not there. There you go. Watch this video again. I know there's some confusing scripting parts in there, and like char arrays and things like that we haven't seen before, but hopefully this can be your kind of intro to it as well. And yeah, there you go. That's how you create a simple dialogue system within Unity 3D and 2D. Cool. See you soon.